Hello, beautiful people on the internet. It's me, Grattify, what is here in the Mr. Clan, and I'm back again with another part. So I hope that you all enjoyed this part. Sorry if I've been on a hiatus. Honestly, that was on me. I nearly forgot I was doing this. Then I went through my notebook, so I was like, why didn't I continue this? And I remember that I posted it here. So yeah, I know that it's a stupid excuse, but that's how it is sometimes, you know. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this part, but before you go any further, do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and comment down below and count what if ideas they want us to do in the near future. Also, if you want to check out our individual channels, check out the link below. Now that I've gotten the checklist out of the way, let's get to it! So, last I left off, Izuku Midoriya was told that he was quirkless, and he was at an all-time low. Everyone bullied him, and he was depressed. Until one day, his entire kindergarten class went to Hammer Industries, or at least a branch of it that is in Japan. As they explored the building, little Izuku was so amazed by the technological wonders, and was even more amazed by that this was all done by science, made by someone's own hands, someone that wasn't quirkless. As he got home that day, he began to learn everything that he could about Justin Hammer and other researchers like him, and he began to study them almost every day. And one day, he just swore that he was going to be like them. Amazing researchers, going through quirk developing projects, and making support items and such. Now we move up a few years later, and Izuku is 14, I believe? He was 14 at the beginning of the anime. Anyway, Izuku was going to school, but then he saw a fight going on between some kind of giant villain quirk and Mount Lady and Kaminari Woods, two new superheroes on the block. As everyone was ooh and eyeing, Deku simply just brought out his notebook and began researching them. He looked at their costume and was like, his quirk might have to do something with his body. That must be why he doesn't wear any gauntlets there or gloves. Pretty interesting quirk, not gonna lie. Then Mount Lady comes and then punches the giant villain with a mountain kick. I think that's what it's called, a mountain kick. And as everyone was still oohing and eyeing, Deku also still examined her costume as well. Another gigantification quirk. It must be made out of some kind of polyester compound by the looks of it. But why didn't she just use some of her hair and give it to her agency? That doesn't make any sense. It should be tight as heck. As he was writing down, as you know in the anime, she did fan service. And Izuku was surprised when everyone started coming up with cameras saying, money shot, money shot, money shot, money shot. And Izuku quickly realized, an attention hogger I see. As he continued to write down, that same starfish dude from the anime said, "Hey kid, you seem very fond of that book of yours," he said to Izuku, which snapped him out of the fight that was going on, which was already quickly wrapping up. "But don't you need to go to school?" He pointed at Izuku's school uniform and backpack. Izuku looked at his watch and noticed that he was going to be late. "Oh yeah, thanks sir. I probably would have been here all day, writing if not for you," he said, scratching his head. He closes his notebook and went off to school. As he got there, the class was quiet the entire day. Everyone did their English, did their math, did their geography, everyone did everything. Then the teacher began to speak, the forum teacher. "Okay class, this is the last day of middle school, and I hope that you all chose your future well," he says, holding his papers in his hand. Then he stopped and looked at all of them as they were a bit wary. He sighed and then said, Oh, who am I kidding? I know all of you want to go to the hero track. He throws the paper into the air, which hypes up everyone in the classroom, making them to use their quirks, while Izuku was busy sketching. He was sketching some kinds of improvements because on Kaminari Woods and Mount Lady's costume, he got a quick sketch of them from the fight and began to make his own improvements. Then he quickly closed that book and then went to another one, as it was a spear of sorts, some kind of thing with a button on it. He began to sketch on it more while everyone was enjoying themselves. Alright, the teacher said to his class. Calm down, everyone. Even though that is the last day of school, you shouldn't be using your quirks like that. It's against the rules. As the entire class calmed down, they heard a laugh. They looked back and they saw Bakugou, who put his feet up on the table. Don't make a mistake, Teach, Bakugou begins to say, pulling up his hand, then pointing his thumb at him. Don't lump me up with these losers. I'm gonna do the best. In fact, I am the best. I'm the best in this entire school and everyone knows it. Everyone was quiet, listening to what he had to say. And I'm taking my skills where they deserve. After he had finished bragging, everyone was put off by this because, no one likes a bragger. Then the teacher began to go through his list and spoke aloud. So you're going to UA, Katsuki Bakugou? As he said this, the entire class was in shock. Then they began to whisper among themselves. What? He's going to UA? But that place has a 2% chance rate of acceptance. And everyone just continued to whisper it, and Bakugou was smiling at this. Yup, and none of you are going to be there. Because, like I said, I'm the best in this class, and I'm the one that has the most chance of getting in. As the teacher began to go through his list, he notices something. Well, isn't this interesting? Looks like you won't be the only one going to UA, Bakugou. Bakugou's eyes went wide for a minute, filled with shock. Then it was twisted into anger. Who in their right mind would dare go into that school? Izuku Midoriya. As someone said his name, Izuku looked up and was like, huh? They all looked at him with absolute shock. Then they began to laugh maniacally, saying, You get into UA? Don't make me laugh, Izuku. Please, like I said, whoever accept a quirkless kid like you. Bakugou was laughing a bit, but he was still angry behind that laugh. What in God's name do you think you're doing trying to get into the best hero school in the country without a quirk? Izuku obviously was pretty pissed at this prospect, and the thing about this Izuku is that he's different. He doesn't like to take this kind of attitude from everybody, and he doesn't really like what people do to him. So instead of just cowering in fear or giving out puny excuses like he did in the anime, he simply just looked at Bakugou's eyes and said 2 words. Drop dead. Everyone was shocked at this response. In fact, no one was even more shocked than Bakugou. He was incredibly angry. What did you just say to me? And Izuku calmly looked at him with a scar. No, not a scar. Scowl, yes, that's it. With a scowl on his face. I told you once and I'll tell you again, Bakugou. Drop dead. Bakugou had already stretched out his hand, ready to toss an explosion, messing up Izuku's face. But the teacher simply just stopped him. Now, Katsuki, you've gotten through this entire school without having one bad thing on your permanent record. Wanna start that now? As much as he wanted to punch Izuku in the face, he conceded and backed away. Besides, little Izuku here isn't even joining the hero track. Everyone was surprised at this, and he had to just sigh at all of them. Unlike all of you that want to become celebrities, Izuku over here is joining the support course of UA. Everyone was quiet now, but this time they didn't burst out laughing. Instead, they just whispered, just like the same thing with Bakugou too. So he's actually joining that part of the course? Well, I mean, he may be quirkless, but it would make sense. The thing about Izuku as well is that he ain't no dummy. Like, legit, no dummy at all. He's 10 parallel universes ahead of you. Oh my god. I'm sorry, I just had to say that, but legit, the man is smart. I'm going to describe how smart he is. I'm going to compare him with some people. Just know that man is big brain. In fact, he's like one of the few people in the country that are like really smart. You know that some countries, I don't know how to explain it. You know how in the educational system, you guys like just write mock and this thing, and then there will be this couple of kids that will be like at the top of everyone in that country. Izuku is there. Anyway, the teacher greeted them all a good day. School ended, and Izuku was packing all his stuff into his bag until Bakugou came in. He had a giant grin on his face and had two of his lackeys with him. Hey there, Deku. What do you want, Katsuki? Oh, nothing really. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. After all, I had no idea that you were joining the sport course. He smiled at him, but you can obviously tell that that smile was not that of pleasantries. It was something mischievous, deadly, something that you just don't want to mess with. After all, you'll be making all these cool tech designs for us in the hero course after all. If I knew, then I wouldn't have actually messed you up. Now, there was this one guy in Bakugou's group who like dumped all of Izuku's content. Izuku looked at it and was like, hey! But one of the things that was in this content was a spear. The same spear that Izuku was drawing in his notebook. What are you doing? The kid grabbed the spear and was like, hey Kachan, look at this. It seems really important. Want me to smash it? He stretched out his arm, and his arm started to build up body mass. Next thing you know, it was an arm full of boulders, ready to smash whatever Izuku was making to pieces. Kachan waved them off, saying, No. Let's not do that. After all, it could be something that you could use in the exam. And I am rooting for you, Izuku. I just really want you to know your place, that's all. I won't destroy that little thing of yours. But the bully tried to speak up, wanting to make Izuku's life bad, but Kachan just gave him the serious look in his eye. I was like, drop it. The bully receded and dropped the spear back into his backpack. As Bakugou let go of Izuku, he turned around and saw a notebook on the floor. It was about hero dynamics and about suits. And this kind of pissed him off a bit. Maybe he was thinking that he wanted to still be a hero or something. But this, I can destroy. He clapped his hands together, creating a mini explosion, burning the book. Then he threw it outside. Bakugou got his own bag, snapped his fingers, making all of the bullies to follow him. And he just looked at Izuku with disgust in his eyes a bit and said, see you on your way, Deku. As he walked off, Izuku got up, looked at them, and then he simply just sighed. After all that acting, they still didn't want to blow it up. Hell, even press the button? Well, so much for that idea. Made me 5 minutes late. He looked at his watch, then started to pack his things. So he really wants me away, thinking that I will make all those crazy things for him? We'll see about that. Kachan. As he zipped up his bag and went downstairs, he just simply remembered that Bakugou drew his book on the other side. Now he'll have to get it from that pond over there. As he did, he saw it smoking and some fishes tearing at it. He smacked the fishes away, saying, yo, get away from that. As he got up the book, he began to try and dry it off and was simply sad. Man, and I just got Kaminari Woods and Mount Lady sketch done. Well, I guess I can always finish it tomorrow. Sadly though, I guess I'll have to test it on Mom. He brought out the spear and then put it back into his backpack. He decided to cut through a tunnel to get home faster, but as he did, he started to hear rumbling going off. He looked around to see what was going on, then looked down to see a manhole cover, and that manhole cover was shaking violently until it busted open, and so did a bunch of, in fact, gallons of sludge just coming out of it. "What the hell?" Izuku exclaimed, but the sludge simply just washed over him, absorbing Izuku to his body mass. Then the sludge began to grow eyes and then show off a mouth. Nice! I can't believe I found a bodysuit so early, and I was even able to get away from that creep. Thanks a lot, kid. You're really my hero. As he was digging his disgusting sludge into Izuku's nostrils and mouth, Izuku was trying to claw himself out of it, saying, "I'm not gonna die here. Not now." He tried to reach for his backpack, but it was already too late. It was too deep inside, and he was losing consciousness. No! But before he could fully lose consciousness, he just simply heard two words from a manly voice. "Texas Smash!" Followed up by those words was a vortex of wind, pushing Izuku back and knocking off the sludge out of him. He saw some silhouettes of a big man. Then everything cut to black. As he woke up, he saw himself outside of the tunnel, dragged with some of his notebook on the floor. And he also saw All Might next to him. "Ah, you're finally awake." Izuku looked at this and was absolutely confused. Like, All Might, he doesn't highly respect All Might. All Might necessarily isn't his hero, but he doesn't diss his mirror either, because, you know, it's the number one hero. Basically, how do I explain it? It's like you just meet this celebrity that you know is a celebrity, but you don't like watch his shows or something. Like, let's say that you know Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo. These are just some examples. Or Michael Jordan, but you don't love basketball and such. You just like, oh, you met the celebrity. That was cool. That's basically how Izuku is to All Might. Oh, All Might? He's questioned, because what is number one hero doing here? In fact, he's even wondering if he actually tripped, because All Might wasn't in his hero costume. Then when he looked to the tunnel, the sludge villain and the manhole cover was perfectly put back into place. Where is the villain? All Might digged into his pocket and then fished out a giant bottle of cola. But instead of cola inside it, it was sludge. He was right here. And I'm so sorry for catching you in the crossfire. I never meant for anybody to get harmed. So as an apology, I decided to write my signature on your notebook. Huh? Izuku started to go through all of his notebooks until he found the one about item placement, basically a place where he writes items, ideas. And then he saw All Might's signature with a little All Might drawing. His sweat dropped at this and said, thank you? As Izuku, however, was putting his stuff back inside, and All Might was saying, no worries, and, you know, still apologizing a bit for catching him there, Izuku had an idea. He turned around to All Might and asked, oh, All Might, sorry, but no time to chat. Again, I'm very sorry about this, but a hero's duty is never done. As he blasted into the sky, he was trying to get away from the kid because his time limit was almost up. Then he noticed something going on with his pockets. He looked at his leg and he saw that it was the same quirkless kid. Kid, what are you doing there? All Might exclaimed, trying to push Izuku off his leg because he did not want him to be near him during this time. But Izuku simply remarked, with the wind literally just blowing away his face, you can't push me off. If you do, I'll die from this height. Ugh, fine. Then he began to cough up blood. I don't have much time left. Let me get somewhere isolated. As they landed near a building on top of a rooftop, All Might was standing there, and then he simply asked the little boy, so, what were you doing on my leg, kid? Izuku fidgeted a bit and simply just said, Well, there was this question that was bothering me a bit, but is it possible someone can still be a hero even if they don't have a quirk? As he asked this, All Might was a little bit melancholy about this. He had a melancholy look on his face. As he turned to Izuku to try and answer him, he noticed steam coming off himself. And Izuku was weirded out by this and said, All Might, are you okay? The smoke covered All Might and Izuku was coughing. Then when he looked again, All Might was gone. Instead, it was replaced by this skinny husk of a man, seeming like he's just 1 minute away from death. What? Who are you? Izuku stepped back, consciously looking at the man. He didn't know what just happened. All Might was just there and he was gone. He must have known that something was up at least. But to have a shape-shifting quirk and to have All Might's power, it didn't make sense to him. He didn't know it was possible to have a shape-shifting power and even be able to copy the powers of those he shapeshifts. All Might looked at himself and sighed. I didn't want you to see me like this. What happened? As All Might got onto the ledge to sit down, he pulled up his shirt, showing Izuku his injury. And Izuku was a little bit disgusted by this. Then he gave the rundown about his meeting with a villain and how it injured his respiratory system, and how he can only do 3 hours of work this day. But shouldn't you have retired? If that's what's going on, you should have retired, man. No one would blame you for that. All Might put back his shirt and said, that may be true, but they still need me. But now I think you know how dangerous it is to be a hero. It's not all colorful and it's not all rainbows. And it's not as glamorous as people make it out to be. Look at me. I'm the top hero in the country and look what happened to me. Someone without a quirk could easily just be killed out there. I'm sorry, but I don't think it's possible. But if you still want to be good, you could still be a policeman or something. As he got up to head for the rooftop door, he stopped as he opened it and turned back to Izuku. Would you please do me a favor and not tell anybody what you saw? I came here because I was out of time. It would really help me a lot. Izuku, who still had a puzzled look on his face, simply just said, yeah, of course, All Might. Sorry that bothered you. As he closed the door, 5 whole seconds passed. Whoa, I was not expecting that. I thought that he was just going to give me some lecture saying that I could do it. But to have a hard lesson, I actually feel bad lying to him. Oh well, whatever I do won't actually hurt someone, not physically at least. As he went down as well, Izuku started to go around, puzzling himself, looking through buildings and said, it must have dropped somewhere around here. Still can't remember. But as all the commotion was going off on his head, he heard a different kind of emotions. Commotion. Explosions going off in the corner. He looked around and he saw where those explosions could be coming from. A giant smoke pile just blackening the blue sky. And Izuku smiled to himself. There you are. He sprinted towards the danger, and 5 minutes he was finally there. He saw a giant crowd gathering around the smoke. It looked like someone was setting off some giant bonfire. As he was pushing himself towards the crowd, he was hearing whispers saying, why aren't they doing anything? They said that they don't have the right quirk for this. But he's going to get killed at this rate. Izuku was still very puzzled by this, but he needed to know what he was dealing with. After all, if this plan was going to go smoothly, he needed more information. As he was able to put himself at the barricade, he quietly looked and then he saw what was going on. Mount Lady, Kaminari Woods, those other 2 soups, because I don't actually give a damn. I do not know their names and I do not care to know their names. Were trying to calm down the Sludge villain, which had managed to escape through All Might thanks to some certain intervention, and it had taken over Bakugou. Get off me! He screamed, setting off more explosions, thinking to blast the villain away. But he simply just reformed and took more control over his arms. I don't think so. You and I are going to have a lot of fun together. Your quirk is so amazing. Sir, please, let the boy go. Everyone was absolutely terrified of this. Bakugou was terrified. The heroes were terrified. But Izuku, he just smiled to himself. 2 birds with 1 stone. As he slipped away from the crowd, he noticed that the buildings were on fire and decided to take a risk. He climbed through the fire escape through one of the buildings and then quickly went inside silently. It was still burning, but he still had his way out. He quickly went through the window and calculated where exactly the villain will be. As he did, he saw some giant pile of goop just occupying one of the windows and said, "Yup, that's him." He brought out his backpack and pressed the button. He threw it at the sludge villain and it just simply sank into his mass. Izuku pulled down the window quietly and began to run. He was coughing and coughing inside, but he was able to get out the fire escape. As he went back out, he cleaned himself up, and the villain was absolutely confused. Where is it? What just happened? Huh? He was searching himself, but whatever that thing was, it was lost inside of his body. Everyone was confused by this, and they didn't know what was going on. Izuku went back there, and it was like 10, 9, 8. To himself, he was thinking mentally. 7, 6, 5. Dude, let the kid down. Not yet. I want to know, what did you do to me? 3, 2, 1. Then suddenly, a giant flash of red light just enveloped Bakugou and the villain, and it blinded the heroes and blinded everyone that was there. It also blinded Izuku. As they put their hands down, the sludge villain was still covered on Bakugou. What's that? But then next thing you know, the sludge villain began to dissolve from him. What's happening to me? Then next thing you know, the villain simply just turned into a normal pile of sludge with eyeballs and a mouth. Everyone was confused by this and was like, well, he gave up on his own free will, so I guess that means he's accepting arrest, one of the heroes said. As they were scooping up the bottle, Bakugou just simply looked at his hands and he didn't say a word. Sorry kid, I was sorry that we couldn't help you out, but it seems that everything is well, right? Bakugou didn't say anything and he was starting to get scared. His hands were shaking. The hero noticed this and he asked, "Kid, you okay?" "It's not coming out." He said this quietly and the hero asked him to repeat. "I can't use my quirk. What happened to me?" Everyone was absolutely shocked by this. And Bakugou and Izuku, he just smiled. It works. He backed away into the crowd as it was dispersing, and as he left, he opened up his notebook and we finally get to see exactly what it was. The thing was called a quirk grenade. I can't believe it actually worked, he said to himself as he was walking home. Let's see, time to check it off the list, what he has done. Range should be around 3 to 4 meters. He writes down, I'll have to reduce the reaction time to it. He says that the reaction time is slow and checks off the list saying that it is slow. After 3 years of making it, it actually worked. Man, that thing was hard to make, getting all those resources. But it seems to have worked in the long run, at least. No one was hurt physically. Then he began to check off more stuff, such as making it that it blows up when it's destroyed and such. Then he came up to the last check mark. Is it permanent or temporary? Well, I guess I'll just have to be watching Bakugou a little while. He left it undefined and closed his notebook. This is going to be a good year for me. Time to start building my machines. that's where I'm going to leave it off, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this part, and sorry if I had to leave it on a cliffhanger. That's how things gotta be sometimes. But anyway, now that I've done this, please do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and comment down below any kind of what if ideas you want us to do in the near future. This is Grattify What Ifs, signing off.